Good evening from Chile Expat Family. This is our live stream. I'm about a minute early. Trying to make sure I got all the things ironed out so everything's working well. Oh, got 6 people already here. Hello. If you're and thanks for the thumbs out. I apologize for being a little I'm a little early, but if you're here and please chime in and let me know if you can hear me okay, first of all. And I also really appreciate if you're subscribed. And second of all, I also appreciate you asking questions because that's what I'm here for. I do these just so people out there can ask questions about Chile and see what it is or isn't that they do like about Chile. Is Chile right for them? That's what we're here to help people figure out. So I tell people in my group, it's not my job. It's not my job to convince you to move to Chile. It's my job to inform you as to your options so that you can make an adult decision. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Good question. At any time, if you have a question, raise your hand. In other words, make a comment, and I'll try and answer it as quickly as I can, okay? So here we go. What time are we? Yeah. 5 people in the room, 6 thumbs up. Thank you very much. So tonight's live stream is called Off-Grid Rural Living, Chile versus the USA, the UK, and the EU, and anywhere else on the planet. So I'm trying to give you guys a comparison of what's it like living there. What's the comparison of what's it like, the advantages, what are the disadvantages of living off-grid, and what does that mean? So a little prefix, a little feed in hors d'oeuvre. I've been living in Chile for 13 years. I've been off-grid that whole time. I actually have 2 solar systems. One of my solar systems is 10 kW. I just upgraded that system to all Victron except for my lithium battery, which is brand new. It was just installed 2 days ago. Hey, Susanna. I know the 11th region is booming. Is it? Okay, cool. I said, yes, but it's very cold and windy there. I love it. You go there, you get Patagonia fever, but it's not somewhere I can live year round. It's just too cold, wet, and windy. And trust me, it's wet and windy here, but it's snowy down there too. And I like to be able to grow things in the winter. So for me, that's why I would not be there. It is, blooming. Yes, it is blooming too. And we're blooming right now here too. But they're also getting mountains of snow, actually further north of me, closer to the equator, which is counterintuitive. So back to my thoughts here. So I've been off-gridding, living off-grid, homesteading. I wouldn't call it prepping because I don't really per se prep since 2013. I have 2 solar systems. One's 4 kW and the other is about a little more than 10 kW. I just upgraded the 10 kW system. I'm waiting for some final little knickknacks to get it, tweaked in correctly. And then I'm going to do a video series on that as well so people can see what I did, what were those costs involved, how long did it take, that sort of thing. Susanna, for me, the 10th Rio Bueno, the Los Lagos and Los Rios regions are my Goldilocks zone. They're the go-to Goldilocks zone. Temuco is too far north for me. It's too dry. The soil's not as good. And they have other problems there. So for me, from Puerto Montt north, and actually I don't like Puerto Montt so much. but it depends on where you're buying around down there. Okay. So, all right, to our list. Let's first go. What does off grid actually mean? It means no connection to the electric grid, which I'm not. You're producing your own electricity, your own water source. We actually have a contained spring for our water. It was here when we bought the property. We brought the property from a gringo, and he had that developed. He had somebody come contain it. Basically, on my property, I have 10 springs, sometimes only 8. And those springs are pumping out so much water, it doesn't make sense to drill a well. What you do, I'll use my trusty toilet paper as an example. You take a concrete pipe, let's call this a concrete pipe, 4 foot. You push it in the ground over this, well, you dig a hole, and you put this right where the water's coming out. And then you put another one on top of it, and top of it, and top of it. And then you put a cap on the top, and you put a pump in there. And it's just like a well, only it's about as quarter as expensive, okay? You get your water tested, which you can do really easy here. It's not cheap, but you can do it. It's like $200. And then you just go ahead and pump it out. That's what I did. So, not connected to the grid. You're producing your electricity. You have your own water source. You have your own septic / water system. And I do. I have 2 big 4,000 liter septic tanks. You're heating your own home independently. You're not relying on a gas line or I don't know, oil heat possibly, although you could do that. Or you're not connected to the grid getting electric heat, which would be a heat pump or a split unit. Your internet and communications are standalone, so the rest of my neighbors, their internet's down and mine's still going. I live independently, yes, but not necessarily isolated. I'm not isolated. I'm independent as I can possibly be because I don't want to be a burden on someone else, including the Chilean government at all in any way, shape, or form. And so that's kind of what living off grid for me is. Okay. I'm going to get more in depth in some of these things. What people think of off-grid living versus reality is the reality is you're the power company, you're the water company, you're the plumber, you're the electrician, you're the heating and air guy, you're the firewood guy, you're the everything. But that's my job. I don't have any other job. So I have plenty of room to do that and the freedom to do it. Okay. And it's a whole lot less expensive because I don't have to go make money, pay taxes on that money, and then employ somebody to do the work and pay taxes on that, and then pay taxes on the taxes on the taxes on the taxes on the taxes that I've paid. And I know that sounds a little silly, but it's actually to that point in some countries like Australia. We had a family last night. Palmont. Yeah. Hi from Santiago. Hello. Yep. Okay, 6 people, 8 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Please ask questions. That's what I'm here for about off-grid living in the south of Chile. We're going to talk about electricity in Chile versus the USA, the UK, or the EU specifically. All right. In Chile, you can live off-grid, and they don't really they don't care. They pretty much encourage it in some ways. What do I mean? Well, there's no permits. There's no inspections. There's no rules. You want to have your own solar system? Have it. Yeah? It's easy peasy lemon squeezy, okay? Can you do that in the USA? No, you're going to have to get a permit from the county for your solar system. More than likely, you're going to pay taxes on that. There's going to be an inspection on that. There's going to be a fee on that. There's going to be a taxes on the fee. The EU is going to be even worse if you don't have a license or a permit or whatever, and you're going to pay to have it inspected. And also in the USA, the UK, and the EU, and Australia as well, and New Zealand, they're going to force you to connect to the grid. They don't want you to be independent. They don't want you to be independent up here, and they don't want you to be independent in your bank account either or anywhere else. You're a slave of the state, but I'm sorry to be the one to inform you that if you live in the USA, UK, EU, Australia, New Zealand, you guys are slaves, plain and simple. You got, they're just coming and getting you guys from every way, shape, and form. You don't even realize it. It's become so common. So the cost of electricity here is it's a little bit more expensive than it is in the US, okay? We have 220 as opposed to 110. That really doesn't make a big difference, but we have gas-fired and we have hydroelectric electricity in Chile. If I remember right, we have one nuclear plant, but I could be wrong on that. I think we have one nuclear plant. Chile has a lot of small hydro plants. And those hydro plants are just dumping into the grid. And those are privately owned for businesses. They're like small power companies, basically. Okay. Let's talk about solar potential in the south and in southern Chile, which is where I live. Okay. I'm going to go by the list real quick here. Susanna, hi from extremely smoky northwest. Yep. Hello, Susanna. Do you consume the water direct from your well? Yes, I do. I don't have to treat it. It's so pure. It's so clean. It's yummalicious. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's got a little iron in it, but I'm okay with that. Okay. Alexandru, Marinica, I guess. It's true. We're all slaves. Yeah, you are. Yeah. And that's sad. Never thought that happened. All right. So how much, all right. Solar potential in the south of Chile. In the south of Chile, we're cool and wet. The hottest day we've ever had here was 91 degrees, and that was only one day in 13 years. And that same evening, it was 45 degrees here. You don't need air conditioners. I don't have screens on my windows because I don't have any mosquitoes for the most part. I get bit maybe once a year by a mosquito. So at night, my doors and windows stay open all the time to let the cool air in. What are the normal temperatures? A hot summer day would be 80, 78 degrees. It gets about 76 degrees, and it's kind of funny because I grew up in South Carolina, which was like 100% humidity, and it's like 118 degree days. I remember when I was a kid in the 80s, and that it gets like 78 degrees here, and the Chileans are like melting like popsicles. They're like, oh, it's so hot. How do you stand it? And I was like, really? Anyways, so, but you need to consider the weather here because where we are, it rains a lot, so we have less sun. Especially the shortest day of the year is the 21st of June. And that's when you need to buy enough solar panels that you're feeding your system and your batteries to be able to power your basic needs. Okay. And that speaks to your battery storage. You can never have too many panels or too much battery. You got to have enough panels to be able to fill your batteries, but that's really the only constraint on battery. Okay. If you can't fill your batteries up regular, that's bad. All right. You should always have a generator for backup. That's really important. I have a generator. I'm on like my fourth or fifth, sixth generator. Generators are things that are kind of like throwaway items almost. The generators are things that are kind of like throwaway items almost. The one we've got right now, I've had for like 6 years. It's a lawn scene. I really highly recommend it. Okay. And I've had diesel generators up to 14 kW. and gasoline generators down to 3 kW. The current one I have is like 6 kW, okay, which is sufficient. I have to be limited on heavy things that I'm running on my generator. And it's good to have that generator. So like if I'm working on my solar system and I have it disconnected from all my load, my total farm, then I can isolate the farm, the load, the houses and everything, and turn on the generator and it'll power everything. And I can continue working while I have the solar guy here or whatever, or if I have a something that's broken. Or if you don't have enough sunlight to power your system because you didn't have enough panels. Give you an idea, when I bought my big system, I bought it in December of 2017. The panels were $120 a piece. They were 230 watts. Now those same panels are 590 watts for $80 a piece. So it's gotten really cheaper. Everything has gotten cheaper. I have a 48 volt system. I wouldn't go with 24 volts. Full disclosure, I have a 24 volt system, a small one, in my cabana with 6 panels. It's my older system, but it's only been used about a half a year. It's like new. And I also, my big system is 48 volts. So the higher the voltage, the more efficient your system is. Okay. So we're talking about living off grid here. All right. And there's some really important considerations about living off grid. Yeah. One of those is being redundant. So that's why we really consider considering having a generator is extremely important. You have to have well water and other things. The Sheldo. Yeah. The Sheldo 1. Hey, man. Good to see you. Tell us where you're from. Plamamont. It's hard to start to think in metric, or do you train your... No, I love metric. I love metric much more than I do imperial, because I like tenths, because I have 10 fingers. I have to count them. I have 10 fingers, and it's all about tenths, and you don't have to. Oh, that's a 3/16. It's tenths. Okay, it's really simple for metric. Okay. I love metric, and all the measuring tapes come in metric, so it's really nice. The lumber is weird. It comes in 2x4s at 3.2 meters long. I don't know, but I don't know. Okay, but that's what it is. Okay, and no, I love metric. You just read the tape, and that's what it is. There's no thinking about it. There's George. Hello, greetings, George. Hi from Wisconsin, Partigiani. Hi from Wisconsin, from Oscar. Is there any thermal spring? Yes, there are thermal springs. They call them termas, aguas caliente de termas, and they use them for health benefits. Yeah, and it's nice. It's hot. I love going there. My wife doesn't like me going there, and she doesn't like our son going there because they have this thing about not wearing a lot of clothes. The ladies don't. I use the word ladies lightly there. And she doesn't like that. Excuse me, the ladies that are here this evening, but I like looking at a beautiful lady, and that's why porn is addictive, and I have nothing to do with it. Okay. So my wife doesn't want me to go to the thermal springs unless it's really miserable weather when nobody's there, because there's so many young chickie poos with almost no clothes on, and in today's culture, that's permissive, and it's a little bit gross, in all honesty. So yeah, we do have thermal springs. How many Chileans are there in the live chat? I don't know about that. TD Mall. Hi from New Mexico. Hey, is anybody from your group looking into hire electric engineers in Chile? You got to understand, everybody in my big group, I have 4 groups, okay, but they're all nested under the big group. In the big group, Chile Expat Family, I currently have 125 families moving here from England, France, Germany, Spain, Slovenia, Russia, the Ukraine, Romania, Estonia, Switzerland, Germany, the Netherlands, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States, Belize, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Paraguay. Those people are all exiting those places. And some people that are leaving Paraguay, for instance, and Argentina as well, they went there first and they made mistakes in their opinions, and that's why they're in my group. Those people, once you're here and you get boots on the ground, I move you to a local group. Yeah. So if you want to know what he's talking about, I manage a group called ChileExpatFamily chat group. That group consists of people all over the world who are interested in moving into Chile. And I have a team of professionals to help answer your questions about moving to Chile. And then if you decide to do so, they will consult with you and help you get here. What are those people? I have 2 attorneys, a doctor, a dentist. I have 2 mechanics, one in Santiago and one way south here in Osorno, to help you do pre-purchases or get your car repaired or whatever with automobiles. I have a solar installation guy and repair guy, and he's also a certified electrician. I have 2 builders. I have 3 real estate agents. I'm one of those. I have 2 accountants. I have a shipping company, and I'm forgetting people there. I keep finding more people to join our team to help get you guys information, because I don't know everything. There are people that do want to let you believe they know everything about Chile, but I don't. Okay. All right. But I'm smart enough at 63 to know to say, but I'll find you the answer if I can. Okay. The correct answer. When I think like that, and when I came about that, massaging my brain there, it just made sense for me to create a team to help people do those things. So you would go into our group, TD Mall, and you would say, hey, I'm an engineer. Anybody else want to go in electrical engineering business down here? And they would chime up. And they may also say, whoa, you're in New Mexico. I actually have a family in Arizona. I have another one in Colorado. I got like 2 or 3 in Texas. I got them all over. When you get to be 125 families, it's hard to remember wives, kids, pets, all that. And they're going to say to you, TD Mall, let's go in on a container together and we'll split the cost. You'll save 50%. Yeah. Yeah. So I need a source of income as 26-year-old. Yeah, that's pretty young, but it's never too young to retire. I retired at 50, and that was too late. Wood is imperial because forestry. Yeah, that's right. It is in the States. They send a lot of wood from Chile to the States. So, all right, back to our format, our outline. Why is redundancy important? Because you need to prepare for emergencies. You need to have water for your animals. Okay, and that's really important. And if you have a wife or children or whatever, then you're going to want to have water, because you're going to hear a high-pitched whine if you don't have water. And because everybody likes clean clothes, okay? And they like the toilet to flush and take a hot shower and cook with food and clean dishes. So if I'm running my generator, my well pump's going to run no problem, okay? Redundancy is important. Have a backup and a backup for your backup. What happens when the sun doesn't shine for several days? We all die. The sun comes up every day. It's not as bright as it should be, but even with ambient light, my solar system still produces electricity. The key here is when you design your solar system, you buy enough panels, depending on how many watts they are per panel, to supply you electricity sufficient to feed your batteries and fill them up or whatever level you need, even on the darkest day of the year. Okay. And I can do that. And I do that. I have for 13 years. Okay. Your own experience with your Victron pipe system. I have a Victron pipe system. Okay. That system has been updated, and I will say that Victron is very expensive. It's been updated, and I will say that Victron is very expensive, but they're tops. They're tops for a reason, because they're good. I went with pipes for batteries. It's PYTES batteries, lithium batteries, and I liked their product. That's why I went with them. It was a good price too. What are the advantages of being completely independent from the grid? Raise your hand if you know the answer to that. Just shout out here in the comments. What are the advantages of being off grid? Oh my gosh. The advantages is that you're free. Okay? Free. I still remember back in South Carolina, Boiling Springs, South Carolina, and I would get $450 power bills in the summer for that air conditioning, the infernal air conditioning. I could hear my mom tell me this when I was a kid, and I would chuckle about it. And then I was an adult. Shut the door. The air conditioning's on. But man, you turn that air conditioner off, you see them little kitties start shutting the door really quick. They start figuring that out. Yeah. And $450. Do I pay the power bill? Do I pay the health insurance? Do I pay the water bill? Do I pay the mortgage or the life insurance? What do I pay? Or do we not eat this month? Have any of you ever gone through that? Raise your hand if you have. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's life in the U.S. That whole thing there is a game, and they're playing you guys to keep you playing. Yeah, everything's going to continues to get more expensive, so you can never afford to get to. Oh, if we just do this, honey, if I just work a little bit longer and I do this, then I'll be able to pay this off, and then we'll be able to we can live free and easy. And then that property tax bill comes in, or that air conditioning bill, the electricity bill comes in. And let's go in a little detail there. Let's say you had a $450 air conditioning bill, and some of you know this. You're going to have a local tax for your city or your municipality. You're going to have a county tax. You're going to maybe have a state tax or a fee. You're going to have the Al Gore tax in there, for the global warming or cooling or whatever it is today, or the popsicle fee, or I don't know. And you're going to have a federal tax too, the Al Gore tax. Yeah. So you're getting taxed maybe 4 or 5 times on the same stupid bill. How much do I pay on my power bill? Raise your hand if you know that. I don't pay anything on my power bill. I did pay taxes to purchase the products. I did pay taxes and the services, my solar guy. And if you're going to have something done that you're not an expert on, be man enough to say, I'm going to pay somebody else to do that. But also be man enough to say, I'm willing to hold out until I've got the money saved to purchase my solar system, or to purchase the wood to build my house, or to purchase a toilet seat, whatever it is. But Jimmy, you can't say you did that. Ladies and gentlemen, I lived in a tent for 6 months over there under our big laurel tree in the rain in the wintertime even. Why did I do that? I will not be a slave to a mortgage company. I'm not going to do it. I've done that. I don't have to worry about paying my taxes because I don't have property taxes because I'm agricultural use. That's not every property in Chile, but it could be. And Chile just recently is voting on laws that say if you're 65 or older, you don't have to pay taxes on your property, your primary residence. So that's a good thing. That's really a good thing. And I'm 63, so maybe it's 60 or older. I can't remember. In either case, I'm not a slave to a bank. I'm not a slave to a power company. It's kind of like I don't like Ayn Rand a whole lot. I find her ideas. I'm fairly libertarian in my thoughts, but I like. I'm also a Catholic, so I believe in a Christian basis of charity amongst people and giving of yourself and your time. But there's that saying, "Who is John Galt?" That really applies to living off grid. Who's John Galt? I took my well, if you've ever played Monopoly, And if you've ever, and I used to with my brother and my sisters, and they cheated, and I hated that. I vowed that I will not play a game where the people are cheating. In the United States, the government cheats because every time you get ahead, they change the rule. They bump the prices. They're in control of all that. Okay, there's this magic thing called uh, uh, crude oil, and in Iran, the sun's shining on Iran, and they're bombing, and I should make light of it because it is not good, but the fact is that you're a slave to those prices. I'm not. I care less what the fuel prices are. Not important to me. Yeah. But you got to drive somewhere. Yeah, but I drive when I want to drive. Oh, we need to go to town. Can we go next week sometime? Well, that's about 7 weeks, 7 days away. Yeah, yeah. We don't. We good till then? Yeah, yeah. We're good. We're good. Okay. I do what I want to do. Okay. Can you say you do that? No. That's the life I live. Stress free. Stress free. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for being subscribers. Yeah, you are slaving in Canada for sure. You guys are. Don't say anything. No, sir. Not in Canada. Okay, I'm gonna do a little side through the weeds thing. We had a family here visiting us from Australia last night, and they're full-on communists now in Australia. They can imprison you for no reason, and you're not allowed to call somebody and say I'm being arrested, or they can put you in jail without citing a crime indefinitely in Australia now, and they can take everything away from you too, and they could do it for a 12-year-old child. So all of a sudden your child's disappeared from school, and they could do that. Hello, Michael Trump. Good evening from North Dakota. Hello. Yep. All right. 11 people in the room. All right. So this whole thing for me off grid is about freedom, pure and simple. Let me explain to you some things here about electricity and solar power. In the United States, they want you, and I'm going to use them because that's what I have the most experience on, but I know it's true in the UK. You must be connected to the grid, and they call it net metering. What is that? That is, oh, we're going to buy electricity from you. You're going to make money selling electricity to the local power company. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah. But the power company charges you, I don't know, chime in here. Tell me, how much are you paying per kilowatt hour where you live for your electricity? Okay. In Chile, it's about 15 cents a kilowatt hour. Well, I'm making dollars of pesos and all that stuff, but we're going to say right there. Yeah. So in the United States, you go to net metering and they're going to pay you for your power, and they're charging you, let's say 30 cents they're charging you, but they're only going to pay you 5 cents. Does that make sense to you? No, they're not going to help you. They're going to steal from you. And they can also cut your power completely off to your house. It's called a smart meter, and they have it in Australia now too. That's what I was told last night. Really scary stuff. I don't have that. I do not have that. Okay. That's freedom. Freedom. Okay. If you want to be in charge of your freedom, you have to work for it. Okay. You have to take a risk for something for you. If I can instill anything in you, get back your mentality of independence and freedom. Okay. I'm not saying devoid yourself of all caring of your fellow men. In no way am I saying that. Okay. I'm just saying stop playing a game where you know they're cheating. Okay. Maybe Chile's right for you. I don't know. I'm here to help you figure that out. But I really don't want you moving here if it's not right for you. So let's continue on down the list that I have. And this is from people I've got questions about in my YouTube channel on comments, and I just composed them here. So The last one was the advantage of being completely independent from the grid. I don't have to connect to the grid, so they can't cut my power off. Okay. Solar in southern Chile. Chile has tremendous solar sources, but in southern Chile, it's different from the Atacama, which is the driest desert, and it's about 24 hours to the north of me. Okay, Santiago is 12 hours to the north of me. That's like the distance from Spartanburg, South Carolina to New York City to New York City. We have a lot of rain and cloud cover, which are major considerations. So you have to oversize your solar arrays when it comes to it. That means your panels. And you have to have a battery capacity to be able to store that. Okay. Listen, if the sun doesn't come up tomorrow, everybody on this planet is going down the same toilet. So don't plan on having enough battery for 2 days unless you got enough money to just throw at it. One day, a day and a half is sufficient. Seasonal differences in the summer, I got too much sun. I'm making so much electricity, I'm just using it up. I can't store it all. Solar trackers versus fixed panels. Some of my panels are fixed and some of them are on towers, and the towers can tilt this way and they can turn that way. That was really cheap for me to do. Each of my towers combined cost me $1,500 installed. That's pretty good. Yeah. And they're all custom too. It's like made for Jim. It's pretty cool. Why do you need a backup plan during extended periods of bad weather? Well, because you might not you might have a day that's just so dark that your batteries aren't completely filled up, and you want something for an emergency is what it comes to. Yeah. Okay, let me go back to the conversation real quick. Yeah. And do you go picking mushrooms? I have. Yes, I am. Yes, I have before. Dueñas are the other mushrooms here. Um, Sheldon slaving in Canada. Yeah. Okay. So if you have a question and you didn't hear this before, please put it in because I'm here to answer your questions about Chile in general or off-gridding in Chile. Thank you for the thumbs up and thank you for subscribing. Some of you may know, but my son Thomas is trying to work in and be an apprentice and start taking over my YouTube channel slowly. Yeah. All right. Water, well versus spring versus municipal water. A well and a spring here are kind of the same thing in some regard. They're both groundwater. One is in the aquifer and the other one's groundwater. The better one is what they call a pozo profundo, which is a well. It's a deep well. And you get into water rights and some other things as you do with the spring too. You can also tap water straight out of a creek if you have it and drink from that. You would have to have a filter on it or something, and that's a possibility. They do have municipal water here. It's not everywhere, and I don't want it. If they put it in front of my house like they do in the US, in order to sell your house in the US, if you're not connected to the water and the road in front of your house, they won't let you sell your house in a lot of states. Here, it's called APR, Agua Potable Rural. I don't want that. Water rights and why they matter when buying a rural property. They really matter in the north of Chile. And it's a very deep subject. I don't want to get into too much because I'm going to do a video strictly on water rights. Basically, in the south, you don't need them. None of my neighbors have them. It rains 6 to 8 feet a year. The water problem we have is too much. Oh, do you do water collection and saving and setting? You know, they throw people in jail, I think it's in Washington State, for putting water in barrels for their gardens. That's really getting into your pants there in a lot of ways, as far as I'm considered. It's like really crazy. We don't have any of that. I don't have to save water. I do have a water tower. That's a different thing. I have a water tower so that I don't have to run my pump all the time. I want my water tower to act as a natural battery using gravity to feed all my water on my farm. And I have about 5,000 liters. I wish I had twice that, really. It's not really expensive to do. I may do that in the future. Rainwater collection, again, I said I don't do that. Storage tanks, just the water tower. I do not have a filtration system because my water's pure. People come to my house for my Chile Expat Family chat group and our other groups that are here, and they take my water with them in bottles. Can I come fill up my bottles? Yeah, sure. Drinking water versus irrigation water, for me, it's the same thing. I can drink out of the garden hose, and I do all the time. Make sure you don't drink out of a garden hose that's had any contact with any type of chemicals. I knew somebody as a high school kid in South Carolina that did that and put his mouth on the hose and killed him. What happens during a drought? That is a consideration. We have had droughts in the south of Chile. So you need to plan for that if you have a large farm specifically to be able to feed your animals and be able to water your crops and things like that. Let's see, what year? In 2024, I think we had, like 2 years ago, we had a pretty good drought. Our grass turned brown. That's unheard of. In 13 years, even in the wintertime, our grass doesn't turn brown. It's green right now, and we're in the heart of winter. They got snow up the road from me, and I never see snow. So, yeah, and you have to plan for the worst always. But you have to do that. You have to do that whether you're off grid or not. It just makes good sense, okay? Are there any questions? Do any of y'all have questions? Put questions in the chat, or yeah, put a comment in there. Question. Tell me where you're from. I love to say hello to people. I'll do you a little shout out. It's cool. You guys are on the other side of the planet from me. All right. So let's see. Why water should be one of the first things you investigate when buying a rural property. That's really important. You're going to need it to build your house. You're going to need it to live off of, to feed your animals. When I look at a property, I always want a creek on it. That's me. Okay, so I don't have to pump water. The cows and the sheep can go down to the creek and drink, and I don't have to turn the creek on and off. It just goes. Okay. All right. Next topic. Let's see what the comments are. I'm going between screens here from my notes. So no comments. Nobody's commenting out there. Geez, y'all speak up. Can you still hear me? We got 10 people in the room, 16 thumbs up. Thank you for being subscribers, and thank you for these comments. I love comments. I don't know if you ever look, but I always respond to every comment in there in YouTube, even if they're profane. Only to say I'm going to delete your comment because I don't do the profanity thing. Okay, that's just, if you can't express yourself without being profane, then you don't need to do it in my channel. So on to the topic at hand: heating your home. Wood heating. Yes, wood heating is the tops. I got a friend. They built $1 million house, right? And maybe it's 1.8 million, I think is what it is in dollars. Yeah, and that house. That house has a wood boiler. Why did he do that? Because he has 20 acres of woods and there's trees on the ground, and he's got a caretaker, and he's got chainsaws. He's got to clean the woods up or it will be a fire hazard and cut those into firewood anyway. And he saves tens of thousands of dollars over the life of his house, maybe hundreds of thousands, I don't know, in heating expense, just using a wood boiler. Very common here. You get a wood boiler, and then here they call it calefaction, okay? Calefon. And they have gas ones for hot water, but they also have them wood ones. Like my house is very unique, but it's very common. This is not legal in the United States, a wood boiler. They have them, but they're not in your wood stove in your house. They don't like you to have that. Why? You might hurt yourself. You guys can hurt yourself. You're not smart enough. But everybody in Chile, every small little podunk house on my road, little worker house, those people all have wood boilers. They all have boilers in their kitchen wood stoves. A lot of them. So what do you do with that water when you heat it? You pipe it through the floors and you have radiant floor heat. It's the best heat you could ever have. Yeah, if you're smart enough to do it. Some of them aren't smart enough. Some people aren't smart enough, and it's not real expensive. It's just It's not much more expensive than garden hose, okay? Really. Pellet stoves. We do have pellet stoves here in Chile. I do not like pellet stoves. During the COVID, you couldn't buy pellets. Why? Because they stopped making them because they wouldn't let them work. I can go down the woods and cut up a tree that's fallen on the ground all day long and have wood for my stove. Yep. Propane. We do have propane. It's expensive. I don't like it because I have to depend on somebody else. I have to go get it, actually, they deliver propane to your house. They'll deliver it. Not expensive either. It's just as expensive as you go in there. Heat pumps. We call them like little mini units. They have those here, like the Mitsubishis. Those are becoming common now. So if you go Airbnb here, they'll have a heat pump, one of those little split units. Electric heating, that's screaming crazy, outrageously expensive like it is in the US. How heating choices can affect an off-grid solar system. Yeah, if you're using resistance heating like electric heat, not good, okay? For instance, I don't have a hot water heater, electric heater. No. Our wood stove heats all the water for our house in our showers and our bathrooms and our kitchen sink. I have to burn the wood stove about an hour and it gets hot enough. Yeah. So, are you guys still out there? I'm not seeing any more comments. I saw uh, Michael Trump is the last one to comment. So, if you're out there, please say something so I know you're still alive. I really appreciate your questions. Yeah. Okay. Why wood can make sense in Southern Chile? Because it's so cheap. It's the cheapest form of fuel that there is. It's renewable. It's green. It's all those fancy buzzwords that don't matter anything because it does what it really comes down to. It's the least amount of work and the least amount of money. Availability, it's everywhere. I got so much work. So many trees are on the ground in my woods right now that it's unbelievable that Thomas and I just don't have the time to go down there and cut it all up. My back doesn't like doing it as much as I used to, but the good thing is I can go buy it and it's relatively cheap. How much is a square meter of wood? It's about $45 a square meter. I don't know what that is a cord. Don't ask me. I know I cut cords in my life when I used to sell firewood when my parents had a farm. We had to cut wood, and I don't remember what the dimensions are, but a square meter is meter. Okay. All right, let's go back here. We're enjoying the stories. Yeah, I'm from the South. I like to tell stories, you know. If you want to hear some more stories, just let me know. So I love to tell stories to explain things. Okay, internet and communications. Well, I'm talking to you over Starlink. I've had it now, 4 or 5 years. It's awesome. It's not expensive. It's like $40, $50 a month, something like that. Uh, which is that's a bill I pay every month. Okay, and that's a service I don't mind paying for. It's not real. It's $50. I mean, I'm streaming live with you right now, not having any problem. I like it. And you can say, oh, what about when it rains? Or I'm filling my pipe back up with this wonderful Burley tobacco from I think it's Virginia or North Carolina or somewhere up there. So I like Starlink is what it comes to. I think I find Elon Musk a little odd, but I mean, I'm not marrying the guy or anything. Nobody's marrying. But the fact is that it works. Why get anything different? Well, in all honesty, Chile has fiber optic. Okay. Just down the road from me, at the end of our road, which is about 6 kilometers away, the corner is the main road. They have fiber optic, but there's so few people on my road that they won't bring me fiber optic. And I pay $50 a month for Starlink, and fiber optic would be $17 a month. Okay. If they brought it, would I use it? No. Why? What's the first thing they do when there's a problem in the United States, Canada, the EU, the Ukraine, Iran, China? They cut off the internet. Kind of hard to cut off Starlink. I love it. What cell service? Ooh, the wonderful thing about my cell service, I have Movistar. Movistar is one of the biggest cell companies in Chile, if not the biggest, okay? They're really good at one thing. I'll give them that. Every month I get my bill. Yep. I always receive my bill. Have you got it now? Have you got it now? And they send it to me early. They'll send it to me 2 weeks early. I could pay my bill 2 weeks early if I'd like. They like to do, here's your bill 2 weeks early. Well, here's my cell phone right here. It don't work. The phone works, but the service doesn't. If I want to pick up the service, I have to hang out the window there. All Chileans know that, except for the people in Santiago or La Serena or Valparaiso or the cities. They have. No, I take that back. I've been in a big box store like Sodimac or Leader, and I didn't have cell service in Sodimac in the city with the biggest cell phone company in Chile. That's stealing. They're not willing to invest in the network. But what's happening is that you're going to see in Chile, they're going to have the Elon Musk thing that they have now, where you can get a phone and talk just like a cell phone to a satellite. Same service. And it's not expensive. The problem is you got to buy another phone. And that's the only reason I haven't done it. So John C. 7348. The MIL lives off grid in our La Tirana desert. Solar is great, but the water from the well is pretty contaminated, and the scale of cancer in the area is quite high. It has to be bottled for drinking. That's why I don't live there. What's he talking about? I don't know what the MIL is because it's abbreviation. The Chileans abbreviate a lot of things. I think he's talking about in the north of Chile. Am I right, John? Let me know, okay? John 7348, John C. I do not like the north of Chile. Yeah, mother-in-law. Oh, yeah, mother-in-law. I love that. I do not like the north of Chile. Why? It's a desert, semi-arid. There's no grass. There's no trees. It looks like the moon. Santiago 50 years ago used to be green. It's slowly moving south. Maybe it'll get to me one day, but where I live, there's so much rain. We have green year round. So right now I'm in the winter time. This would be like your January, February, March-ish type of year in the northern hemisphere. And my grass is green. And the trees, most of the leaves, like 60% of the trees still have their leaves on them. I'm not talking about pine trees. I'm talking about oak trees, type trees, okay? So for me, the south is my Goldilocks zone. If you like an arid climate, you're in El Paso, you're West Texas or so, yeah, move up north. I don't, but for me, I don't want to be there. It's dirtier. There's more crime. Water is a big consideration. John C. will tell you for sure. Yep. He says, up in the north, I'm part-time Antofagasta based. I much prefer down in the south, but the missus works in the city in the Atacama. I'm not going to say get a new missus. Okay, I won't say that. Okay, in all fairness, my wife does get a little droopy eyed around the because it's rained so much here. You need to prepare your mentality for the overcast weather here, and that's like June, July, August. It's overcast. This week it's rained every day. Uh, Swimming pools. I mean, it's like wow, the roof's going to wash away. I hope the baby sheep that we had last night don't float away. So we don't have flooding. They do in the north. It rains up there in the Atacama or anywhere near Santiago or La Serena. They're going to get flooded. Why? It never rains. When it does, it doesn't seep in. It just runs on top of the ground and mad rush for the ocean. Here, it's been raining 6 to 8 feet a year here for the past 1,000 years, so it's not a big deal. So, all right, back to my questions. All right. So, cell service sucks. Whoever you have, they suck. And I shouldn't use those words. I'm sorry. I apologize. Please accept my sincere apologies. Cell service here is not good, no matter what the company you have. Okay. Chileans know that. Everybody knows that. What happens when there's no cell? That's all the time. That's the question I got. What happens when there's no cell signal? Everybody here in Chile uses WhatsApp. Some people are learning and they're starting to use Telegram. Why do we use Telegram for my Chile Expat Family chat group? Okay, I'm going to tell you a secret, but you guys have to promise me you will not tell anybody. Okay? You got to promise me, okay? Some of the members in my group are former Chilean, some of them are Chilean, but also U.S. and EU military, and they were in high security positions. They don't like WhatsApp at all because they're tracked in WhatsApp. Telegram, they're always trying to put that Russian guy, Pavlov's dog guy, Pavel, he's a nice guy, actually. They're always trying to put him in jail because he won't give him access to your freedom, to your rights, to your privacy. Yeah, the northern Chilean regions are the wealthiest in the country. That's for sure. Why? Well, that's where it was developed. That's where all the money is for the banking. That's where the nitrates were mined for bomb making material, and then they used them for fertilizer. That's where the copper industry is still located, which is owned by the Chilean government. The copper mines are, and the lithium, yeah. John C., you know what the worst thing in Yerkos S.199, you know what the worst thing about that is? Not the government owning it. The worst thing is that the Chilean people haven't opened a business that produces copper fittings, copper piping, lithium batteries. They ship out the raw material and then they pay 400% to bring it back in, and they pay a 26% tax. It's 19% plus the fees for the aduana. It comes out to be 26%. They call it a fee, but let me tell you, there's a little secret. A fee from the government is a tax. That's what it is. It's a tax. Okay. And like if I go down here to the hardware store and I buy a faucet or copper tubing, and the copper was mined here in Chile, the valve was made in China. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone is expected to be on. That's right. That's right. Okay. Back to the questions. Please ask questions. You won't have to go by my format. Let's ask a question. This is the world's my oyster. I can toss this any section. Multiple communication options. Yes. Telegram. Anywhere there's Wi-Fi, you want to use Wi-Fi. Okay. Internet for remote workers. That's Starlink, straight up. Streaming for YouTube. We're doing it right now in the Campo. I'm living the Campo. The Campo is the countryside. Starlink, bada boom, bada bing. They even have a deal where you can get two of them, and they'll give you one of them 50% off. How reliable is Starlink during bad weather? It's excellent. It's bad weather here right now. It's overcast and raining outside. All right, roads and transportation. Rural roads in southern Chile. They're gravel. They're gravel. I have a gravel road in front of my house. They're paving it over the next year. They've already started. But what they have to do is build up the foundation of about, I don't know, 8 inches of gravel. They call it material or ripio, and then compact it for a year because they don't want holes. Right, they're going to get holes anyway, and they have to because the ground is so soft here, and the soil is my soil is rich, dark, black, and deep. Okay, it's like the same things you guys go to Home Depot or Sodimac or and buy in bags. They call it black cow. I could sell my soil here. It's better than what you're buying at those stores. Uh, Winter conditions. Yeah, we do have an issue. The mud comes out. In the summer we have dust. In the winter we have mud. Do you need a 4x4? Yeah, you should have a 4-wheel drive. It just do you need it to get down the road? No, you don't need to get down the road. But if you want to go camping or go out in the mountains somewhere, or you want to tow somebody or something, you're going to need 4-wheel drive. The distance to town, this is for rural living, okay? Rural. The distance to town is for me. It's 48 minutes to go to Osorno. I'm actually going to go there tomorrow and run some errands. Fuel costs, yes, you do pay fuel costs for that. How far should you realistically live from groceries, hospital, and hardware store? I'm 15 minutes. Okay. There's a hospital in Porto Octai. There's a couple of mom and pop grocery stores. There's a gas station. There's a bread shop, of course. A couple of okay restaurants, not tops, We have an awesome hardware store there in Porto Octai. Those are Mennonites that run it. They're really good friends of mine. So realistically, I would say an hour. It has to do with your philosophy of life. What do I mean? Okay, life's part of life. Living is dying. If you're not ready to die, then you need to get your mind right because everybody that's on this channel is going to die one day. It's just a fact of life. Okay, so yeah. So for me, I don't have to be right next door to a hospital. Oh, he's having a heart attack. No, honey, let me go. Just pack me with cotton, and there we'll dig a hole. Thomas will dig a hole, and you throw me in it. I'm happy with that. Okay, okay. So let me finish this list here real quick. Why a cheap property can become more expensive if it's too remote? It can. I actually considered buying a property on an island or buying an island. And I could, if you're interested in island, I got friends that are selling them all day long down here. But you got to get everything out there, and it bumps the price of everything up by, oh, I don't know, it could be 40%. It's not economic to get like a boat taxi to get there. You need to get your own boat that you can drive your car or tractor or whatever on and off of. Yeah. All right, to the comments. Yep, everyone is okay. Yerkos 99. The Northern Land Immigration Rights, Irrigation Rights located in some valleys near Calma, Arica, Coyat, Coipipo, and are pricing, yeah, because they're growing avocados there, which are called palta in Chile. Have you been down the Carretera Austral? Okay, I admit it. I took a drug, an addictive drug, and I'm admitting this right now. I want to let y'all know I went down the Carretera Austral. Carretera Austral. It is addictive. It is so beautiful. You just want to say, "Oh, stop here, and we'll build a cabin right there," because it's that beautiful. And you could buy the land and buy a cabin down there. I've actually been down there to sell real estate to one of our members. Well, 3 years in a row. My members pay me to take them to look at real estate all over the south of Chile. I don't go to the north too much. I go as far north as Pucón. I'm going up there next week. Um, why would I not live down there though? Okay, be nice to have a cabin down there. I still want to do it. I almost sold everything and moved down there. It's called Patagonia fever. It's like cocaine or heroin. You can't get enough of the beauty. I try to explain this to you people here. Okay, you can't understand how beautiful it is there. It is so beautiful that National Geographic should should be ashamed of themselves because they can't portray it well enough. It is so spectacular down there. Sierra Castillo uh, is so Torres del Painis, the marble caves on Lago General Carrera. It's just beautiful. There's nobody there. It's peaceful. It's clean. It's fairly safe. Yeah. Yeah. So I have been down the Carretera Austral, but it's cold and it's wet even in the summertime. I was there on the hottest days of the year, 2 years in a row. It rained and snowed on me both days, both the whole, like an hour, and then the sun would come out, and they're freezing looking at land. These were some members of mine looking at 4,000 hectares. So they were larger builders, let's say buyers, let's say that. Michael Trump is asking me. He does, doesn't he? But he's a little camera shy. He is. I want to be in front of the camera. It's your job. I'll edit the videos. You create the thumbnails. He goes on and on about that. 18-year-olds, but he will eventually because um, I'm 63 and I know full well that I'm not going to be here long. Okay. I'm on the downhill slide, guys. I wouldn't surprise me if tomorrow Lori came on, put a video up. Jim passed away last night in his sleep, and that was my time. I understand that. So I'm trying to slowly turn everything over to him, and that's something to do. Do you recommend diesel or gas? I recommend diesel. Okay, this is one of those don't do as I do, do as I recommend, as I say to. I bought gas. I bought a Toyota Prado. Awesome vehicle. Awesome vehicle. Yeah, it'll pull like I pull a plow with it. I have. But it is gasoline and it sucks the gasoline. I don't like that. Problem is when I got here, and mine was a 2007. I bought it in 2013. I paid $16,000 for it. I've since rebuilt the engine in it. It's 18 years old, and it just keeps going and going. And we fix it, and it just keeps going and going and going. If it don't break, don't fix it. But they now sell diesel Toyota Prados. Okay, I think they do here in Chile. At least Thomas is in the mode right now of buying a vehicle. He's 18. He wants his own vehicle, and vehicles are a lot more expensive here than they are in Chile. Our oldest son Jimmy, when he was 15, he bought a Toyota pickup. I don't even know what it was called up there, a little Toyota 4-wheel drive pickup. And I think he paid $500-600 for it and drove it like 4 years. Yeah. And then he took the engine out and rebuilt it in the backyard himself, and I helped him do it. That's the type boys I raise. Okay. In Chile, vehicles are so expensive that you have the initial investment and you just keep fixing it. Yeah. So diesel is highly recommended because you go a whole lot further. Also, diesel is significantly cheaper in Chile, like 40% cheaper than gasoline. Okay. You get more miles for less money. That's what the game's all about. And they have diesel mechanics everywhere here because everybody has diesel. Even little cars are diesel here. Yeah. I agree with every word you say. It's beautiful, but the weather can be dodgy. Yes, it can. It can. All right, so when you see the Chileans out there in this weather, it's raining on them. They call it the tears of Christ. Isn't that just beautiful? I mean, it's just they work in it. They don't. My neighbors, the farm workers here, they'll be out here at 3:30 this morning, herding the cows up in the pasture right behind out that window there. My fence is right there, and they'll be in the rain out there howling, going, "Oh, come on, cows!" In Spanish though. So yeah. All right. Thank you for the thumbs up, and 13 people are in watching the live stream right now. If you're just coming in, please, or there's 15 people now. Please put a comment. Say hello. I love comments. Okay. Back to our list. Property costs. This is for rural off-grid property. I personally do not sell any property in any city. I find it objectionable for me myself personally, and I can't morally bring myself to sell somebody a house in the city, so I don't. Okay, um, I just don't. I'm not a city boy. Compare cost of rural land. Right now, it's about 18 million to 22 million a hectare. That's about $8,000 to $10,000 an acre. Property taxes are minimal, less than $2,000 a year. It's like $1,600, $1,800 for 100 acres that my friends were paying. That I sold the land. Electricity's everywhere on those bigger properties. Again, I wouldn't go connect to any of them because there's a Chilean electricity is very dirty and it's very dodgy and it's usually off. It's like off and on and on and on and off. And all the farms around me are dairy farms, and they have to milk their cows twice a day or they dry out. They all have huge generators or tractor operated generators. They're running every week. Okay, you can't live like that. I'm off grid. My neighbors in I run a Spanish neighborhood group in WhatsApp for my neighborhood, and every week somebody says, Hey, is your power out?" And I don't answer anymore because it's kind of like rubbing it in. I don't like putting salt in a wound because my power's never out. Why? Because I have solar. My Mapuche friends, who are right down the road from me, 3 kilometers, came over and I taught them about solar because they get government assistance to buy solar systems, so they're all going that way because they're always out of power, and it's why live like a caveman. So enough about that. Water systems, agua potable rural. We talked about that early. Septic systems are really simple. Um, I have 125 feet of drainage field, and I only needed about 10 feet of drainage feet. I'm not even joking. Okay, our soil is extremely porous, extremely porous. It's almost like sand. Okay, fencing. Yes, I have fencing. There are costs. You want to keep your animals in. You can get fined like $150 if your cows are in the road because it'll kill somebody. You don't want to do that. They'll hit them at night. Outbuildings, yes, those are expensive. You got to put roads into your house when you build your house. That is not cheap. It's not crazy expensive, but it's something you need to consider. You have to maintain all those. You have to pay for the labor and the construction. Is the land actually cheaper, or are you just paying for infrastructure if you're closer to a city? I guess you're paying for infrastructure, but you're also paying for the bad stuff that comes with that, which is neighbors right on top of you and the crime and the misery and the noise and the pollution they bring with it, and the nasty ways. I'm such a biased country boy. It's not even funny, and I apologize, but I do. I just don't find that if you live in a city that you're contributing, you're a consumer, you're a net consumer. I'm a net producer as a farmer. I'm a farmer. I do sell and I do give away and I do trade with people our products that we produce on our farm. Not a whole lot, but I'm a producer. I'm not a consumer to a large degree, anywhere near what a city is. Salt, pepper, ketchup, liquor, those sort of things. Flour, whatever. Even that flour I'm buying from my neighbors. I'm buying organic wheat flour. Never been sprayed nothing, and it's really good stuff. And we're not talking about the Monsanto um, crap that they sell out there that's it's more than ready to poison you. Yeah. All right. Building and construction. Okay, some of you may want to know, can you build your own house? Yes, you can. I did. I built my house I'm sitting in. It's about 1,600 square feet, and I paid probably $45,000 in 2015. Today, this house would cost me $120 per square foot to build it. Okay, and it would be in better condition or better quality building materials. There are contractors, and some of them are really sketchy, but a lot of them in the U.S. are really sketchy. Yeah, so we help people. We have some preferred contractors, and we also have some people that are project managers that will put you together with a contractor and manage your construction. They're not real expensive, and they're going to keep you from getting ripped off and make sure that the quality of your construction is what you're expecting. Cost of materials, they have gone up because inflation is here in Chile. Um, the COVID did a lot of that, but there's other stupidity there too. Um, and but it's still cheaper than the U.S. because they produce a lot of lumber here in the U.S. The wood industry is really big. I buy locally, and if you import stuff, you're going to pay more for it. So, like all my lumber, I buy from a guy right down the road from me. It was standing in a forest like 2 days before he brings it to my house. I if I want to use it for special projects, I'll dry it out before I use it. But at this point, most of what I'm using that for is exterior construction or fence lines or things like that. Yeah, but you need to know importing stuff is the Chilean government puts a premium tax on all that. Wood construction is common in the South. We do have termites, but it's not been a great problem for me. Okay, and I don't know anybody else that has. Insulation, they have fiberglass, they have rock wool, which is it's basically newspaper shredded up with a fire retardant on it. They also have this other insulation that's made out of not fiberglass. It's made out of nylon. Okay, and it's doesn't have any friable material like fiberglass or rock wool. I mean, it's like they use it for batting for quilts and stuff. I use that in my house and I love it. If it gets dirty, you just wash it and put it back. If you want to go through that work, yeah. Um, let's see insulation, roofing. They have every roofing you can imagine here. We do not use shingles in the South. That composite asphalt shingles, fiberglass. We don't use those because we get so much rain. What do they use? We use metal roofs here, and they're so cheap that you'd be stupid not to. In the United States, is the exact opposite. In EU, metal roofing is it's a premium, and you don't want to use roofing up there because you can't afford it. Down here, you'd be stupid not to. I mean, we have metal roofing. Heating requirements, you have to define that for your family, but I use the radiant floor heat and on the wood stove as well. Permits and regulations. Now, there's a big one. If you build your house in the US, you're going to need a permit, or else you're not going to be able to move into that house. And you're going to need inspections, and you're going to have to pay, $1,500 every time the inspector comes. And those inspections have to be on time, and they're going to hold your project up because he couldn't get there today because he had to go drink coffee at the donut shop and couldn't make it out to your house to look at the construction. And then when everything's done, you get your final inspection. If he doesn't give you your certificate of occupancy, you can't move in by law. Yeah, I don't have that. Doesn't exist. I'm out in the campo. If you live in a city or a town, yes, you're going to have that. But I don't pay any permits. I don't pay any fees. There are really almost no regulations for building in the campo, and nobody follows them if there are. Why building in rural Chile can be very different from the US? Because the world is your oyster here and you're an adult. Yes, if you do not know how to build, you better get a builder who does know how to build. You don't have anybody to blame but yourself. You're a big boy now, and you got your big boy pants on when you come here and you live off grid and you move in Chile. If you can't handle those things, or if you're smart enough to realize that you're not very smart or very skilled in those areas, pay somebody to do it. And it's cheap. It's not real expensive here. For quality labor, certified, they do have certified electricians and plumbers. They do have those people here, yes, and builders too. I highly recommend, and we use only those people. Like our solar guy is also a certified electrician, so he can wire your whole house. And often he's wiring the whole system, the whole house, and he's designed a system based around his whole knowledge of what your consumption is going to be, which is like tip top right on it. Thank you, Bam. So, food and homesteading, which is what I'm all about. Gardens, greenhouses, chickens, pigs, sheep, fruit trees. Fruit trees, you better plant those fruit trees the day after you buy your property because it's going to take 3 to 5, 6 years before you're going to eat an apple. And to me, that was a bucket list thing. Once I can eat an apple from a tree that I planted, then I'm ready to go. Yeah, preserving food, we do a lot of that. We do smoked hams, bacon. We do. I've done prosciutto. I've done salami, but it didn't turn out because I don't have a stuffer machine. I need to get one of those. But we also do a lot of canning, a good bit of canning. I did a series of videos on building shelves for our root cellar. Okay, we have a steel reinforced concrete pre-stressed floors, walls, ventilated with a French drain around the whole thing. Root cellar. It's a basement, and it's really the cat's meow. Yeah, freezers. We actually have one, two, three freezers, and they have every type of refrigerator and freezer that you can imagine in the US, and some you have it down here. Okay. Like you'll have the German brands and you'll have the Korean brands and whatever, but LG's here and Frigidaire and Kitchen, all that stuff's here. Let's see, growing your own food versus buying it. We grow as much as we can. We go through about 6 hogs a year. And actually, we co-op with another family. They raise all the beef. We raise all the pigs. So they get 3 pigs and we get 3 pigs. They get, and we go through 3 steers a year. So they get, 1.5 steer and we get 1.5 steer. So how much land do you actually need to do homesteading in Chile? I have 6 acres, but I would recommend probably if you get 10 acres, that would be the cat's meow, in my opinion. That's 10 hectares would be 24 hectares, 24 acres. 24 hectares would be 24 hectares, 24 acres, 24.47 acres. So 10 hectares would be a good buy. 5 hectares would even be a good buy. That would be 10 acres. Labor costs. This could be really interesting comparison. Chile labor versus the UK, the EU, and the US. It's a lot cheaper here because we don't have the high government regulations that they have to be licensed, they have to be trained, they have to go through they have to go through all that training about how do we treat people who are different, and we don't have all that silliness down here. They're just you find a good builder with a good reputation and stands by his work, and that's what you're looking for. Okay, ask questions. Nobody's asking questions. You're hurting my feelings here. Let's see. Hiring someone to clear land, not a big problem. There are a dime a dozen. Fencing. Well, all these people that I'm reading to you, fencing, construction, plumbing, electrical work, agricultural work, all those people I could hook you up when you get here. Not a problem, okay? Why doing some things yourself can dramatically reduce costs? Because you don't have to worry about waiting and whatever, and you get it done the way you want. I personally enjoy doing manual labor. I like using my brain and my hands, and I raised all my children to be able to do the same. Yeah. So, like when all my fence lines I build myself, they fall down, I fix them myself. Okay. Most of my plumbing and irrigation, I do all that myself. I install water lines. Thomas, if you watch in the videos, I taught him how to run an excavator. We do all that. Uh, yeah, we're doing everything we can our own. All our animal husbandry, veterinarian care, all the way down to killing them and hanging them and gutting them and and then butchering them into pork chops or sides of beef. We do all that, okay, ourselves. And it's a good thing to know because you don't have to rely on somebody else to do it. Security and crime. This is the biggest thing for me: safety, security, and crime. Rural Chile versus Santiago. Santiago is another country. It's not Chile. All my neighbors tell me that, and they're Chilean. Oh, that's a different country. I was like, what? I thought I was lost in the translation. I was like, what do you mean Santiago is different? Oh, okay. You got to remember, Chileans have a lot of slang that they use and funny things that they call things and like animal names. And it's really humorous when you kind of get your mind wrapped around it. But if you live in the Campo, the people who live in the city are different people. They think different. They do different. They're different. Yeah. So I'll probably get spanked by that, saying that by my Chilean people here tonight, and I apologize, but it's true. Rural Chile versus rural USA, UK, and the EU. Okay, well, rural Chile is freer than rural USA, UK, and EU. We don't have the government interference. We don't have the nanny state here. We don't have all the permits, inspections, fees. We don't have the department of whatever coming and inspecting our animals and saying, you can't. We're going to fine you for your sheep drinking out of mud puddles. Like I watched a guy in the U.S. the other day. They arrested him because he let his sheep drink out of a pond that his grandfather built. Yeah, we don't have any of that stupidity. Okay, property security in the Campo, it's not a problem. The last murder that happened in Porto Octai, which is the closest town to me, has 4,000 people in it, was never. They've never had a murder in recorded history. The last murder in a circle around my house, about 30 minutes, we'll say, is over 4 years ago. It just doesn't happen. There is petty crime, but it's my neighbors are like, they're like, if you ever remember, do you remember the movie, the television series Bewitched, where Miss Kravitz lived across the street and she had her eye looking at my neighbors. They're Miss Kravitz. They're always looking for, hey, by the way, there's a car driving up the road and he's a criminal. Disregard your stuff, yeah. So we know all about that. So it doesn't happen. You just don't do stupid things. And CC Blue W2C. Hi from Arizona. Can't wait to be in Chile. Thank you, sir. Yurkos. In the north of Chile, the tap water is really hard. Yeah, I would imagine it is. I got plenty of boron, calcium, magnesium that clogs the pipes. Wow. Sounds like your prime for having a reverse osmosis filter system. Our water is a little hard. I do have iron and calcium scale in my shower, and it's a pain in the neck, but I had it in the U.S. But I don't have any chlorination. I don't have any of those issues. Our water is tasty, and it's proved to be very pure, and I really, really like it. Yeah. Let's see here. YouTube's asking me to do something here. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. All right. Next question. Chile neighbors. Okay. Proper security, gates and fencing. I built all that myself. Thomas actually welded our gate. That was his 11-year-old kid school project for homeschooling, learning how to weld, and he did. He designed it. Had to do all the math for the welding and measurements and the pricing. I had to price it out and all that. Our neighbors are as good as gold. I love them. I love my neighbors. They're so nice. Our neighbors across the street have a huge dairy farm. They're milking 300 or 400 cows a day, twice a day. They sell us raw milk all day long. There's no license needed for buying raw milk. There's no laws covering raw. Well, there may be now, but we buy raw milk all day long, and we pay half what everybody else pays for the triple pasteurized milk they sell in the grocery stores. So I'm buying 20 liters of milk for $9. Let's say that. Okay. Gates and fencing neighbors. Home invasions. We don't have them until in the campo. Uh, until recently, I was like when we first got here in 2013 until like 2018, I would tell people, "Oh yeah, about the home invasions, a real problem in the U.S." They were like, "Oh, you're making that up." They thought, it's my Southern genes coming out. You're making that up. They don't have home invasions. Somebody knocked down your door at 3 in the morning. They don't do that here. Chileans are very, very uh, good people. There's exceptions to every rule. Move to Santiago and you'll find home invasions. Yeah, yeah. Theft, very, very uncommon in the campo. I don't leave my chainsaw, and Thomas doesn't leave his bicycle by the side of the road. It'll walk away. It makes sense, and you wouldn't do that in the U.S. either. That's why you have to know your neighbors because they help you. Okay. Oh, don't do that. Okay, they'll let you know. The difference between being remote and being isolated. You can be remote, but don't be isolated. Know your neighbors. I know all my neighbors, and they help me stay assimilated. Yeah. You pay $9 for a half gallon of milk. Listen, stop buying milk, save that money, move to Chile. There you go. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Or I'll sell you milk for $8 a gallon. You just have to come here to get it. Yeah, all day long. Uh, when we get our milk, CC Blue, it is still warm. Yeah, Lori puts it in the freezer. Some of it she pasteurized. She makes cheese. She makes our sour cream. Chileans don't have sour cream. It's really weird. You can get it in like some of the fancy grocery stores, but it's real expensive and it's little tiny little thing. I don't like that. We like sour cream because we make Mexican all the time, and I like it in Chile. Sour cream in Chile. So we do a lot of cheese making, and Chileans make a lot of cheese too. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Um, Social side of living off grid. Do you actually want neighbors? Yeah, I want neighbors. I just don't want them next door. My closest neighbors are a kilometer away. How important is local community? Really important. Really important. Tomorrow I'm buying a bale of hay for my neighbor. A big bale, 1,100-pound round bale of actually silage, not hay. It's cost me about $30 for that. Why am I doing that? Because I don't have a tractor to bale my own hay. I don't have enough land to grow my own hay, and I don't really want to go into that. I don't want to spend that money. It's easier for me to buy it from him. And he's also selling me suedo. Raise your hand if you know what suedo is. I know you Chileans. There's 20 people here. Thank you for that. 18 people with the thumby thing. Cool. Appreciate it. And thank you all those people who are subscribers too. If you know what suedo is, okay. For the English speakers, suedo is milk whey. Like the spider sat down beside her, eating her curds and whey. It's what's left over after you make cheese, okay, for milk. I feed that to my pigs because it's got a lot of protein in it, and they gain a lot of weight. Actually, I mix it with corn or an off product from when they make flour. Okay, it's the husk from flour. So my neighbors are helping me get all that, and they're really cool people. So I'm getting like, I don't know, 100 liters, over 50 gallons of suedo. I get like every week or 2 weeks from him. Whenever I run out, yeah, come on down and get it. Yeah. So you really want, it's important to have that local community and be in contact with them and be a part of it. Learn Spanish. Learn Spanish. Cuando tu hablamos en español. Cuando tu habla en español, when you speak in Spanish, it really helps. Entonces, chilenos quiere hablar contigo. They want to speak with you. Y entonces, cuando usted tratar hablar hablar en español, es mejor. I don't speak enough of it because I'm in my house and I'm not around people. I actually take um, Spanish classes. So some people are like, you're not learning Spanish. Why don't you learn Spanish? You've been here 13 years. Well, I'm learning Spanish. I'm just stupid. Okay. You can yell at me for being stupid. Don't yell at me for not learning Spanish. Jim, you're just dumb. Yeah. I'm dumb. I'm pretty dumb. I'll admit it. I don't care. I'm dumb. You can call me dumb all day long. Yeah. Yeah. Pay nine. Okay. 20 liters. Yeah, that's like $5 a gallon. A little less than that. What is your opinion on aging in place and being off grid in the compo? That's a really good question. I like it. I like it. I don't want to be put away in a nursing home. You know something that's really, it's the Chileans in their group. I want you to speak up on this. They don't have nursing homes here. There's a few, but no, not like the U.S. They don't have nursing homes because they still value families. Grandma and grandpa are an integral unit of the family to the day they die. My neighbor here, right across the creek, a kilometer away, Maria Bravo, wonderful lady, and her husband, nice. Okay, he's the president of our little community association. Her father was 100 and I think one, and he died at home. And I wouldn't want it any other way. I don't want to live to 101, but I want to die at home, and I want to be buried, I don't know, under a tree here, a fruit tree somewhere. I like that. I want to be, when I die, I want to be working on putting in a fence line or cutting firewood or helping Thomas do some work. I want to die on the farm. This is where I want to die. I don't want to die in a nursing home, drooling on myself, wetting my pants, relying on somebody else to spoon pablum into me. No, I'm going to go out fighting, and you can't do that unless you're at home, in my opinion. Okay. In Chile, they do have services for indigent people and for disabled people and old people where they actually come to your house. We had a friend, her husband had a stroke. Oh, this is a while ago, but he's dead now. But really nice lady. And she had him at home in a hospital bed with oxygen and everything. And the government helped her with all of that. Yeah. There's no nursing homes here. You really don't find those. People still love grandma and grandpa. They still care about grandma and grandpa. Grandma and grandpa are an important part of their lives and their kids' lives and their grandkids' lives. And, they aren't happy to see their grandparents die or their parents die. They're really genuinely upset about it. And in the U.S., it's like, oh yeah, he lived a good life. He's gone, and I can understand that. But here, it's not that way. They still love family. Family is king in Chile. Am I right? If you're here, if you're talking here and you're Chilean, to correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Back to our list here. Buying locally, hiring local people. Yeah, not a problem. Becoming a part of the community rather than living as an outsider. Well, I can pretty much say we do that really strongly because I'm actually the head of our community association. I'm not head of our community government association. I started a group in WhatsApp of our neighborhood, and then they started, out of that, we elected members who became official, and the government had to have them have an official WhatsApp channel, and they're there. But we still have. But I started that, okay. And my neighbors are like, "Yeah, Jim, you do that." And because of that, we're now having our road paved, and they're now talking about bringing water to some of these people that want water. Okay. All right, we're nearing the end. Number 14, government regulations, property ownership. Yep, you can have you can own property here even as a tourist, and you have all the rights that a Chilean citizen has. Really important. Water rights. That's a really deep subject. No pun intended. I'm not going to go into that, but you need to investigate what the rights are for the property that you have. In the south of Chile, where I'm at, it's not important because the water problem we have is too much water. Building regulations, unless you're in a city, is basically none. Septic systems, you design your system and you install it. Nobody cares if it works or doesn't work, it's on you. And believe me, I know that because I had to repair mine because the tank that I bought was poorly manufactured and the plastic failed. And they have plastic tanks here. And I had to go dig it out and get a new septic tank and install it. That was really expensive, right? What, 13, 14, 50, $30,000? No, it cost me about, oh, the tank was like $400. And Thomas and I rented a mini excavator, and that was another $150 in our time. Okay. So, yeah, taxes, they're very low. But you can buy property that's agricultural. Use small farmer homesteader, and it's exempt. You just have to look for it. Immigration and residency. You can get it, and you need to prove to the Chilean government that you're not going to be a burden on them financially. That's what the main thing they're looking for. We help you with our two attorneys in our group, and they are excellent. They're awesomely excellent. They do all our real estate. They do all our immigration. They'll help you set up a business, write your wills. They'll help you with everything legal that you can imagine. What you can and cannot do with real property, you really do whatever you want with your property. You can't abuse nature. They don't like that, and rightfully so. Don't go willy-nilly cutting down trees because there's a lot of trees on the ground already, first of all. Second of all, Chileans love their natural environment and their natural heritage, and they should because it's spectacular. Do your best to protect that and be a steward of it, not an abuser of it. And we strongly encourage that, and we practice that here on our farm as well. I don't just go clearing trees out of our woods. I clean the woods up and take the useless trash trees, invasive species trees out so the other trees can thrive, and we fertilize and help those trees as well. Okay. And when a tree falls, we utilize that tree and clean that up as well. We make firewood or fence posts out of it, just like all our neighbors do. Perfectly legal all day long. Yeah. So that's what we do. How regulations compare with the US, the UK, and the EU. Night and day. Night and day. We don't have the government interference that you guys have. We're adults in Chile. You in the UK and the EU and the United States and Australia and New Zealand, Canada, those poor people up there. I wonder whether you guys are allowed to flush your toilets in Canada legally without assistance anyways. Do you have a permit to flush that toilet? Yeah. So let's see, questions. Yes, John C says C about what I was saying about being old in the campo. He's speaking Spanish. Water and irrigation rights, yicos, are a problem, yeah, in the central and north of Chile. My thought is, if you're farming and you're homesteading, you're living in the campo, live somewhere where water's not a problem. You have the choice to move somewhere where it's not to begin with, unless you're just so in love with the place that you're willing to pay for that expense that you pay for otherwise. I don't see that personally. So for me, I had to move in my Goldilocks zone where there's lots of water. That's where I am. That's what it works. I mean, I got puddles outside. If I scratch the dirt here, water bubbles up in the summertime. Okay, literally. If I walk through my woods in some places, there's like 8 to 10 springs, and if I step in the wrong place, I'm going up this steep. Thomas has to pull me out and keep me from drowning. Serious, in the mud. It's like Indiana Jones deep. Okay, it's scary. All right. You have to be careful. There's so much water down there. Plus, I have a creek that crosses my property. Okay. Your coast. The last mega drought hits in southern. Yeah, it did. It hit us really bad. And we were like 2 months without rain, and that was way too much. Many farmers must deep in. Yeah, here we had a lot of dairy farms that went belly up in the south, and now a lot of my friends, some of my friends are New Zealanders, dairymen, and my neighbor across the street, they had like I don't know, they had like two 10,000 liter tanks to water their cows for storage, and they had like two or three wells. Now they have like five or 10,000 liter tanks, and they're strategically placed everywhere to water their cows automatically because water that a cow that can't drink doesn't produce milk. Where I live in the south of Chile is the dairy capital of Chile for sure. I have friends in Panama that buy Chilean milk. Let's put it that way. So, 15, the big question is Chile really better? Well, I think it is, you know. So, if you had 500,000, would you rather build your off-grid homestead in Southern Chile, the US, the UK, or Europe? That's a question for you guys. Okay, I would better qualify that. If you had 200,000, would you rather build your off-grid homestead in Southern Chile, the USA, the UK, or Europe? Yeah. Why do I say 200? Maybe 250. I think you could come here, buy land, build a house for 250. Yeah, especially if you're doing a lot of stuff yourself, okay? Listen, for me, well, if you can't do that, I understand. But if you can, use your hands, do it. Yeah. All right. Um, let's see here. Watering it, okay. Your coast last mega drought hits. Okay, yeah. CC Blue. What do you miss about the USA? My grandkids. I don't miss my kids. I miss my grandkids. Um, I'll tell you, I miss fast food sometimes. Good Chinese food you can't find in Chile. I heard, and I'm going to find out in a week or two, but Santiago supposedly has a really good, maybe two, they call them tenedor libres, which is free fork. Set your fork free. And it's a buffet, is what it is. Like Panda or Sun King. They really have not had that phenomenon here in Chile. Within an hour drive of me, within 2 hours drive of me, there is no drive-through window restaurant. Okay, Porto Octai doesn't have any drive-throughs. Frutillar doesn't have any. Alto Obajo doesn't have any drive-throughs. I don't know of any in Puerto Varas drive-throughs. Where welcome McDonald's may take your order. Welcome to McDonald's may take your order. No, that doesn't exist here. Not on the side of the interstate. None of that. It doesn't in the south of Chile. Santiago, they do have it. Yeah, Temuco. I went to McDonald's drive-through there, or was it Los Angeles? Los Angeles, Chile. I went there. Yeah, so I do miss. I do miss some fast food. I do miss food culture a lot because Chilean has a very specific, very limited food culture. Okay, they are just now experiencing what you take for granted in the UK, the US, the EU, Canada. Okay, so let me paint the picture. In the United States, when I lived in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, before we left, I want to say there's probably 200 restaurants within 15 minutes of my house. Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's. What's the biscuit place? Bojangles Biscuits, Subway, a mom and pop pizza place, Italian restaurant, which was awesome. Mandy's, Boiling Springs. There's a Thai restaurant there. There are 3 Mexican restaurants there that are phenomenal. They're all called Corona. Go there. Chinese, of course, is there. The Panda, I could go in there and I order out. They deliver at my house. There is Costco in the in Puerto Varas now. Yeah, I went there. That's how it's really tiny. It's in a little house. It's kind of like a pseudo Costco, but it is Costco. What else do I miss? Speaking of that, I miss some cleaning products that they have in the U.S. I know that's weird. Yeah. My mom was German, so my shoes were always in a row in my closet, or I would get a spanking, and I mean a spanking, not like here's a little tap on your. I mean, you're gonna tell your friends about it, okay? And so I learned to clean. Like I remember when I was a kid, cleaning the kitchen and with a butter knife and scraping the dirt out of the cracks in between the tile. Yeah, that was my mom. And when I was in the Navy, that game just continued. So I really like. I have this clean gene. Thomas inherited it, amazingly enough, and so I like a real Comet. If you know what Comet is, Chileans don't. They do now. It's at Costco in Puerto Vallarta. But anyways, um, I prefer area without fast food and big box. I agree with you, CC Blue. I agree. But with that in mind, you have to plan your meals in advance, way in advance, okay? So the things you need to discuss are back to my list here: land, climate, taxes, regulations, energy, water, food, labor, healthcare. Give you an idea of healthcare, it's about a tenth of what it is in the US or the UK, even though they have national healthcare there, and the EU, okay? Um, Security and lifestyle. I think Chile knocks it out. The South, where I live, knocks it out of the park entirely. Okay. Um, a little reality check. It's not for everyone. Okay. If you're too old to be able to live off grid on your own, although I will say the electricity side, there's nothing to turn on or off. It just goes or it doesn't. Okay. There's no really moving parts in the solar system. Okay. So no maintenance there, but there is maintenance for my irrigation, my water and plumbing for my house and my hot water system and my wood stove, cutting firewood. For instance, I have two water pumps for our well. When the bearings run out on it, I go get that one and I take it off and I put the other one that's been repaired. It's in our garage. It's been there for 6 months, like 2 years, I don't know. And I trade them out every 2 or 3 years. I have to maintain the batteries on my solar system, but that's pretty automatic. I really don't have big solar system problems unless like we have a hurricane, or they don't have hurricanes here, tornadoes, which is a new phenomenon. Septic problems, I've had that, but that was due to a freak thing. The plastic was bad that they built, that they didn't mold it correctly. Mud, rain, those are no big deal. That's all day long here in Chile. That's farm life. That's country life. We had mud in South Carolina and rain too. It was clay there. I hated it there. Distance from town, I don't mind that. I wish I was further away from town. Learning to fix things yourself. Yes, we do. We had a friend, he's 75. They just moved here from Australia. You should have seen the interview with him the other day. He came over this morning. He got his hair cut. I got my hair cut as well today, and so did Thomas. It's $10 to have the guy come to my house and cut my hair. And Thomas changed our friend's oil while he was here. We don't normally work on Sundays, but this was an exception to the rule. So you need to learn to fix things yourself and do things yourself. Having backup plans and backup things like a generator. So after living this way in southern Chile, would I do it again? Yeah, all day long. Yeah, yeah, all day long. The worst thing is I didn't do it 40 years earlier because I'm getting old and I can't do the things I want to do and used to do. And Thomas won't let me do them because, oh, you're going to hurt your back. And then I'll really have to take care of you. Okay. So, yeah. So let's see. Any questions? Thank you. I prefer an area without fat. Okay. So yeah, there's very little to no fast food. Fast food here in Chile would be going into the panaderia, which is the bakery, and you want 10 slices of salami and 10 slices of cheese and 10 slices of ham, and you're going to get 10 rolls, and then you're going to get, a bottle of mustard while you're there, maybe some pickles, and you go next door to the veggie stand and buy fresh lettuce it just came in like yesterday, and maybe 3 or 4 tomatoes and some onions, and you may get a pineapple or whatever, all those fresh stuff every day. Okay. you don't really go to Burger King or McDonald's. But I mean, me being a fat little guy from the United States, I like a hamburger, I like a good hamburger. And with Chilean food culture, they've just recently got into the hamburger wars. Okay, so we got the best hamburger in Chile. We got the best hamburger in Puerto Varas. We got the best hamburger in Osorno. Whatever, and they're all battling for that. And but you, the thing is that there is not a big mix of different cultures in Chile. Okay, there's the Hispanic culture, and that's cool, and there's Germans here, and that's okay. And the Germans are good people, but for some reason they've lost a lot of their food culture. Because I know some Germans in the U.S. that could cook circles, and but here it's like they just don't have that. Uh, they don't have Mexican, they don't have Thai, they don't have Chinese, they don't have Vietnamese, they don't have um, uh, the Brazilian steakhouses. They don't have. Um, uh, they just recently got a Krispy Kreme in Santiago. I about fell over when I heard that. They're just that sort of thing. They don't have Baskin Robbins. They have ice cream places, but they're if they sell Nestle's, don't buy Nestle's. It's trash. It's just industrial ice cream. It's just fresh frozen chemicals. Anyways, which is a travesty because their milk here is really awesome. But you can get some artisanal ice creams. But the things that you're used to in the U.S., like Domino's Pizza, they'll deliver to your house, or call out and Chinese deliver to your house, or Mexican deliver, or Thai, or uh, Italian, or seafood. They have awesome seafood in Chile, with a few exceptions. I miss shrimp. You asked me I miss shrimp. They don't have a lot of shrimp here. It's all Chinese shrimp, which is fresh out of some pond that they were dumping chemicals in with radioactive material. I'm being a little funny, but not too far off for the Chinese. And because of that, it's not. I don't like eating that shrimp. I'm used to South Carolina shrimp. In South Carolina, a shrimp would be that long. They look like little lobsters. They didn't look like shrimp. Okay, and here the shrimp are like this long. They're like stuff that you would like use as bait. You can find all that stuff in the malls. Yeah, you can. In the U.S., though, Yerko, you look. It's everywhere. It's on every corner. Like you got four corners. There'll be a different drive-through there. Yeah. But the malls do have those. They do have Kentucky Fried Chicken, Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's. They have Starbucks, which is really expensive, overpriced coffee. They do have Dunkin' Donuts. They have Papa John's, which I never really ate too much in the U.S., but here they have one in Osorno that's been here about 4 years. We go there, and it's pretty good. Yeah. The shrimp that is not sold in Chile comes from Ecuador. Some of it does, but most of it's Chinese. I look hard for Ecuadorian shrimp. They have shrimp grown in Chile too, right? You can grow shrimp here. And I've seen that once or twice. I was like, you sure this is Chilean? It wasn't Chinese they put in Chilean bags? No, here's the company. Yeah, sure enough. I looked up on the internet. That was a couple of years ago, but I haven't been able to find it since then. So I don't know. It's not like South Carolina where I could go out in the boat on a long holiday weekend in January and go shrimping and come back with 50 pounds of shrimp for nothing, but a boat trip and a few beers. I miss hunting. They don't have a lot of hunting here. In South Carolina, we deer hunted, and that filled our freezer up quite a bit. We would go hog hunting. We go dove hunting, quail hunting. In the winter time, I would go duck hunting and goose hunting with my boys. I would do fishing in South Carolina. They do have a lot of fishing here, and the fishing here is awesome. This is world class, unmatched. It's better than anywhere else on the planet fishing. But hunting, deer hunting, boar hunting, yeah, they don't have that here. It's not. They do have boar hunting, but it's just not the same. In South Carolina, everybody and their brother had a deer stand. I'd love to have a deer stand down in my woods, but there are not enough deer here yet. They're coming. They have muley, which I think is an indigenous deer, but they also have imported deer here as well. Yeah. Chilean guys in the chat are annoying. Don't are annoying. Don't comment about yourself. Okay. Uh, okay. I don't understand what you're saying there, Juan, but yeah. Uh, what's it like raising early teen children? It was awesome. My kids went to the local school. We homeschooled all our kids, but we finished them off in the local school, even in the United States. Like our oldest son, he wanted to go into tool and die, and he had no interest in the university, and we were good with that. But Lori is not so good at tool and die and homeschooling, so we sent him to public school. They put him in tool and die. He aced all his classes. He got a job before he graduated from high school working. He was working full time before he even got out of school. They let him out of school early every day to go to work. But when my kids came here, yes, they allow homeschooling all day long. When my kids came here, we brought our three youngest, uh, Samuel, Andrew, and Thomas. And Samuel Andrew's like 16 and 17. They're like junior, and Samuel was a senior in high school. We put him in the local Catholic school, and they treated him like kings. The first gringos that ever been to the local Catholic school here in Port Loctai, and both Samuel graduated, got his high school diploma, bada bing, bada boom, from Chile, and Andrew graduated a year later and got his diploma as well. Thomas didn't stay, and he came back home. Do they allow homes? Yes, they do. Girls 3, 9, 11, and 13. You poor man. Girls are trouble. Um, yeah, that would be fine. I mean, they have different cultural things here than in the U.S. In the U.S., they have baseball. They still have ballet here. They have football and baseball in the U.S. Are big things. Here, they do have dance and things like that, and singing and orchestra. They have all that stuff. But still very clear learning Spanish. Okay, yeah, yeah, you have to learn Spanish. That's why I put my kids in the local school. So their last 2 years, they already finished homeschooling. Lori was done. They graduated homeschool. Said, hey, they're being lazy slugs. Let's put them in the local school, and they learn Spanish and learn about the culture. And they did. Yeah. What career path is Thomas going into? Is he going for the mechanic trade? Well, John, that's a good question. Uh, Thomas doesn't know what he wants to do. He's really good at welding. He's really good at mechanics. He's really good at building furniture. He's been building furniture for about 4 years. He built all the cabinets in our bathroom. He's okay at electrical. I mean, he works with our solar installation guy as his helper, so he's learning electrical. I've tried to push him. Hey, go get your certification in electrical. He knows plumbing. Plumbing is, not too many people get electrocuted doing plumbing, but yeah. But I mean, he helped me install the septic tank. He did the bear's load of the work, and we installed all those main 50 millimeter water lines out to our greenhouse. He welded with me all the greenhouse, which is I think it's 25 millimeter, the square tubing, galvanized, and it was thick stuff. And some of it was thin stuff, and he welded all that with me and helped me carry it out there. He knows how to do concrete. He knows how to do sheep. He knows how to kill and process chickens, pigs, and sheep, no problem, and cows. He reads, writes, speaks Spanish and English. To me, that is invaluable for your kids to be multilingual and multicultural. Yeah, yeah. Um, so the world is his oyster. But Thomas, like me, I'm a dyslexic. I'm a college graduate, but he has no desire to go to the university. And the universities are throwing out crap. I mean, why would you pay for your kids to go get indoctrinated as opposed to educated? And that's really hard to find an education. I taught Montessori school. I'm now retired, but I assist anyone in setting up a classroom in their home. Yeah, that's cool. They do have a Montessori school in Porto Octai. Yeah. I have friends that go there. It's really expensive. One of the big cultural things in Chile is when we got off the boat, for lack of a better term, where do your kids go to school? And I'm like, the best school in Chile. Really? What's that? Our homeschool. And they didn't know what homeschool was when we got here in 2013. During COVID, that changed their world here big time. As a gringo moving here with children, a Norte Americano or an expat or an immigrant, they're all the same, or somebody from the EU, then you kind of, your kids don't fall square peg square hole for them. So you fall outside their system. They'll let you into the system. It's no big deal, and you can fall back out, and they really don't care. And the same thing applies with their medical system here too. They don't really push you to do this thing, this thing. They don't push that really hard here. For the gringo, they can't make you do it, is the other thing. It's just kind of cool. But Chileans can exempt out of that too. We have midwives in our local gringo Chile expat family chat group that they've delivered quite a few babies. I want to think 6 or 8 families have had babies here at home with these same midwives. They love gringos because we're usually easygoing, and they know they're going to get cash and they're going to get treated right. And yeah, they treat them like family. It's kind of like they love us as clients, like our attorneys love us as a client base. Our solar guy, he loves us. He does whatever because you you treat them, you expect them to do things above and beyond what you want. Premium service, they give it to you and they get paid for it, is what I'm telling you. Okay. Yes, he's got a few traits to pick from. He is really enjoying producing my videos now, John, and he started doing that, and he's upping our game. So raise your hand if you've seen my YouTube channel improve with the quality of the video and with we're now using microphones. He's actually out there shooting me. He's like shooting the video of me, and he's like, no, don't do that. He's directing me now. And so we're trying to do some things. It takes money. I need a new phone. We'd like to get another camera. Yeah, I think we spent like $250 on our microphones that we got, and that was a big setback for me. It's a lot of money for me, $250. So when we did that, it really improved things. But and we're also trying to expand our presence across all social media, and like Instagram, X, TikTok, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook. I'm on the Facebook. I'm on all those now. And I really don't like doing that. I like YouTube. Thank you for the heart there. So he wants to take over that, and I'm all in favor of that. But his mother wants him to stay here, and he wants to stay here. Thomas was a little rug munchkin when we got here. He was like 4. And so he's been back twice now to Louisiana to visit our oldest son and our grandson and his wife, and our oldest son and his wife and our grandson, and to go to Connecticut. They just got back June. They were up there till June, and got to see my wife's mother. She's in her 80s and things like that. Go see grandma. And Thomas had never been, doesn't remember. He was little, like 2 when we were in Connecticut. So he got to see the other side of the family, because I grew up in South Carolina, and all my family's dissolved or gone, or I don't want to have anything to do with the ones that are left there. But he enjoyed going to Connecticut. I don't particularly like Connecticut personally, but I like the state. But my mother-in-law is like, everybody here is mean. They're all nasty. Nobody knows anybody. They aren't willing to associate. I don't know my neighbors anymore. And she's a nice lady, but anyways, Connecticut Yankees, that's where they are. My wife's an exception. She's sweet. Okay, so as far as the work for myself down there, possibly my wife, I'm a 30-year-old master automotive. Oh man, You're going to knock it out of the park, brother. You can hire Thomas. He'd come work with you. He's like, Daddy, we really need to get a car lift. I think we need a car lift. Can we get a car lift? Maybe we should look at car lifts. I'm like, Thomas, you trying to tell me something here? He wants to buy, Sean, he wants to go buy a 1970s era pickup Chevy or Ford 4-wheel drive. I'd like to have like a power wagon. They have all those down here. You gotta look hard, but you can find them. So he's been looking for a new, a old beat up truck to make new again. So yeah, that would be fun. You do really well as a mechanic here, and I'd send you a lot of people too. Do they force the? No, they don't force the jabby jabs. Chilean children, they do. Not force. You can still opt out, but you have to make yourself aware. You are always responsible for your children and for yourself to be educated as to what your rights are. We actually have a doctor that works with the members of our group here because I have ChileExpatFamily. Underneath that is a property investment group and an off topics group. And then once you get boots on the ground in Chile, you move into a WhatsApp group. And that WhatsApp group is for people. The WhatsApp group is for local people. And so we have a whole nother network there. We're helping people find bank accounts, a bank account, a real full-fledged, not kindergarten level bank account, but a real bank account. So that is a big step because when Lori and I got here, we had a hard time with money. They just didn't want to give us a bank account because we weren't permanent. We were that'll work with our members, even if they're not residents, not even temporary residents. It has to depend on how much money you got too, but yeah. So what you do is inform yourself, and in that group we have a doctor that works with people and midwives, dentists, orthodontists, all that. So get the boy a car lift. Yeah, they're not as common here as they are in the US. They're here, but they're not as common. They're still using the old oil pits where you climb into the car and a hole in the concrete. Yeah. Google says they do. So no, Sean, they don't. They don't. You can opt out. You have to sign a thing saying you opt out. That's all. Because we've had friends recently in the past 2 years had a baby here. She had the baby in the hospital, and they said, okay, well, if you have a baby here in Chilean by birth, or in Chile by birth, they're Chileans. Okay, yeah. Well, we don't want those vaccinations. And there was a lot of discussion that went on with that. And they said, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to leave. And they said, well, if you leave, we're going to call the police on you. But that's why a lot of our members are having babies at home. Yeah. Because they don't have to deal with it. And the midwives that we have are all cool about the jabbity jab thing. Says, yeah. Don't trust Google, okay? In about Chile, because it doesn't really, you might do Chat GPT, but you can opt out of it. And I actually had a guy I know that opted out. He wanted to opt out of it, and they took him to court, and the judge says, no, he said the family are the last word. The parents have the last right. He opted out. So back to comment. Sean says, yeah, I worked for GM since the early 90s. Toyota dealerships, 20 plus years. Yeah, cool, man. You got a job here. Come on down. If you could rebuild an engine and bought some milling machines and could rebuild engines, oh man, you'd be light years ahead. I had to send my car 14 hours to the north to a mechanic up there that I trusted, and he did an okay job with my engine rebuilt on my Toyota Prado. Sean C says, been building houses and doing organic markets farming for the past 5 years. Well, the cool thing is that you can do organic market stuff here, and you can have a car business on the side, on the same lot as your house or property. They don't care. People will come to your farm and bring their car out there to you. My neighbor down the road painted my car. He painted the rear quarter panel. Yeah, it looks like junk, but it keeps it from rusting, and that's all I really cared about. But I mean, they don't care. Do what you want on your property. It's your property.
Yeah. Why I'm glad I found your channel, really looking for information and moving there.
Well, here's what I want to explain to you, okay? My job is not to convince you to move here, it's to inform you so you can make an adult decision. I'm going to give you a brief commercial from our sponsor, ChileExpatFamily chat group,
And then you'll understand.
so in that chat group, I have professionals to help inform you. Well, what would a shipping cost? You ask the shipping person in our group. That's what they do for a living. It's a big company. What about immigration? Our attorneys are in there. So what about building? Oh, we have a builder in there. What about solar? I have a solar guy, doctor, dentist, mechanics, two mechanics. Um, the list keeps growing. Every time I find somebody that I trust, I have to test them. I put them in the group, provide services to people so we can help with that. That group is in Telegram, and Telegram is free. And I misspelled it. Telegram is free, and you can find me at Jim Dorchak if you do a search in there. What does it cost? Okay. So I have a total of 4 groups. Chile Expat Family Chat Group is where you enter in, and it's $100 to join that group. That's one fee, and it covers all the other groups. It's $5 a month, and that covers all the other groups too. Okay, and you pay in half year increments. All right. The rules are there's no profanity, there's no proselytizing, there are no anonymous people. If you can't say it without your name behind it, then you shouldn't be saying it. Okay. Not in my group. Not going to allow it. All right. Let's see. There's an interview, and then you have to write a paragraph telling everybody who you are, where you are, and what you do. It's that simple. Right now, this very second, let me go to that screen. We have in our Chile Expat Family chat group a total of 126 members. If you join that group, you get Lori's book, The Ultimate Guide to Immigrating to Chile, Volume 3. She's right now, right there on the cliff face, getting ready to update that with her newest edition, which she's renamed something else, and I don't remember what the name is. There are 4,650 photos. This one is extremely important. Put this in your memory cap. There are 1,090 videos in our Chile Expat Family chat group, and only the chat group has access to. Every property that I've looked at with buyers from our group, I put a video in there of that property, even if they didn't buy it. So you're seeing what they're seeing and what the values are of those properties and what they look like and what the quality, the highs, the lows. You'll even see me interview the member that's buying. Hey, what do you think of the property? Oh, I don't like this over. Oh, it's spectacular. Whatever. You're going to see that. It's too expensive or whatever. 750 files in there. There's 7 audio files. There's 3,210 shared links. There are 2,538 voice messages. You have access to all that history, the total history of of that big group, plus every small group that's attached. So there's a total of 4 groups. The off topics group, they're talking about sex, drugs, rock and roll, religion in there. Okay. That's who you figure out who you want to go in business with, Sean. Okay. And then, or maybe you want to go in a container and have your things shipped down. All right. There's a property investment group where this has already happened. 7 families got together and bought twice as much real estate for half as much money, and then they divided it up amongst themselves. That worked out really nice. And then once you get here in Chile, we have the Boots on the Ground group, which is in WhatsApp, and I think there are like 60 or 80 families in that group, all the way from Santiago all the way down to Coyhaique. And that's a local group. They're like, hey, I got a sheep for sale. Does anybody know a good orthodontist in Osorno? I got a car for sale. I want to rent a backhoe. I need to buy a water tank for my water tower. Does anybody know where to get a water tank? Oh yeah, here's the best place. Don't buy this one. This one's cheaper here. The same, better qualities there. Oh, does anybody know welding? I need to have that tank, that water tower. Yeah. All that stuff's being discussed all day long in there. Oh, I need a sawmill guy. Does anybody have a good sawmill? All that's being discussed in there all day long. So if you're serious about investigating Chile, don't join the group 6 months or a year from now and then come down. Start looking at it now. I mean, it's $100 and less than a cup of coffee a month, okay? And you're going to get all your answers questioned and all your questions answered, okay? And you're going to find out, oh, is Chile right for me? Trust me, there's some people that have moved here that I tried my darndest to tell, and I told them, don't move. You're not prepared. You don't, and they did, and they left without investigating. We've had members that moved here that then joined our group, and they made bad mistakes. They ended up not being successful, not integrating into Chilean society. They thought they were going to go out in the woods and be, the Clampets or something. And you can't do that. You have to be a member of society here. They're not forceful about it, but they rightfully do not like people coming into their country who are not willing to integrate or willing to try to be a productive member of society. And in all honesty, the members in my group are the best people that I think should come to Chile. They're net importers of equity as opposed to net exporters. I don't care much else about it. If you look at our group, I have every race and nationality you can imagine, and every religion too. Yeah, so it's very helpful in that regard. I don't care what color someone is. We have Mapuche Indian daughter-in-law. It doesn't matter to me. She's dark-skinned. I don't care. My kid's happy with her, and that's all that matters to me. It's not about race. It's not about religion. It's about people of goodwill. And it's about us informing you about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? What are the bad things? Lori and I are going to do a video on the bad things. So I don't want to get in that too much because then I got the little ladies in the other room's going to be all, oh, you let the kitty out of the bag on that one. No, I don't want to do that. So Sean says, sounds good. I thank you, sir. Very serious finishing up the house here in Arkansas right now, looking at coming down next spring to look around. It's research time. Join now, man. Start researching now because you might decide you don't want to come here next June. And when you really need to come to Chile, if you're interested in moving to Chile, in my humble opinion, is in the worst part of the year. Why? If you love it in the wintertime, in June, which is the rainiest, nastiest part of the year, you'll love it when the sun's shining because it is so spectacularly beautiful here in Chile. The problem with coming then is that it limits your access to a lot of properties. Wow, I've been going for 2 hours and 23 minutes. It's unbelievable. Also, I need to make this little caveat. If you decide you want to move to Chile and you move here, you want to find property, you need to find your property in the wintertime and have your house plan, your builder, all your contractors set up before it gets sunny. So you have a very short window to get a roof on the house and get in the dry. You want to have everything, boom, ready to go so that you could just move into the house when it's done. So if you have a question, it is 20:52 right now, almost 9 o'clock here in Chile. Ask the question right now. I'll give you 2-3 minutes, and if no one asks, then I'm ahead on. From the north of Idaho, where we had 5 months of snow and cold, Rain, and you're so used to that. Man, I don't do snow anymore, Sean. I got titanium in my neck. I can't. My neck just doesn't like cold anymore, ice and snow. It does get rainy cold. We do have freezing temperatures here, but I've only seen snow twice in 13 years, and it only lasted 5 minutes. If I want to go see snow, I can see it actually out our bathroom window, and I can drive there in an hour. It's really about 15 minutes as a crow flies on the side of the mountain and go skiing. If I put myself on skis, and I love skiing, it would kill me. I'd just kill me. It would break everything in me. So, yeah. All right. So I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for the thumbs up. And I really thank you for being subscribers. And I really appreciate the comments. And I appreciate comments that you leave in my videos as well. I'm here to answer your questions and that inform you about Chile. And my channel is not about entertainment. It's about what's life like in Chile. And that's what I'm here to do. It's the group is there to filter. It's not my opinion in the group. It's professionals answering your questions. Okay. And that's real important to me. Okay. Because it's not just what I'm saying, it's what other people say. Also, really cool thing about being in the Chile Expat Family chat group is you get to talk to the members already living here. Hey, was Jim like puffing? Was he making things up? What's it like? You know, what is it? Is it cool? You know, and you get their opinion, and I encourage them to tell you the facts. Okay, don't be surprised if you have an issue, because nothing's ever smooth. Okay, that's what life is about. You're here to keep going when you have a problem, and we're here to help you through that too. So, what's your opinion on Chilean prefab homes? Some of them are really good. I've seen some really good ones. Okay, it's a quick answer to getting on a property, and then you put that to the side and you rent it out later, and you build your main house in the meantime. Really smart science. I recommend that. Yeah, one was listed on your family. Yes, that's right. Yeah, warmer weather. Thank you, Sheldon. The Sheldo, and Sean C. Yes, you're very kind. I appreciate it. And y'all, God take care of you. God bless y'all, and thank you for being here. I'm going to end my live stream now and go to bed. So, thank you again. Ciao from Chile Expat Family.